Did Squad get the MATV right? Welcome back to Standard Issue on YouTube, where we have all the answers to your standard military questions, including pop culture and entertainment ones, like did the video game Squad get their new MATV correct?
Now, if you don't know what a MATV is, stay with me here because there's going to be a lot of acronyms. A MATV is a MRAP class vehicle, which is a mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle. So, that's what the M in MATV stands for. The ATV stands for all-terrain vehicle, just like civilian use. Even though the MATV only started production in 2009, the replacement is already on the horizon, with Oshkosh's LATV, or Light Combat Tactical All-Terrain Vehicle. This is supposed to be a more nimble MRAP that could potentially replace more roles that the Humvee currently performs. Now let's go ahead and hop in the game. Once again, this is Squad. It's an early development game, currently in the alpha stages. Now it is pretty far along in the alpha stages. It has many features that you don't find in many military simulators. Even though this game doesn't claim to be a military simulator, it's probably one of the more accurate representing military features and systems than anything else, except for maybe like an Arma, which is not fair because Arma is basically a military platform downgraded for civilian use. But what we've come here today on Squad's firing range map is to look at this guy over here. I took a nice little lap. We're not looking at the porta potties, we're gonna look at this guy. This is their in-game representation of the MATV. And from just about looking at the model, they did a very good job at modeling this vehicle for the most part. You have the boomerang system here, telling you where you're taking fire from. I don't believe it's modeled in the game, but it's shown as a physical model. You have your standard antennas, obviously. And you also have your antennas for your like Duke system, your jammers. So that's very cool. Also, you know, things like the floodlights are modeled onto the vehicle. You have the crow system. Usually this area is covered up by something, but that's not wrong. It's not in the world that's open like that. Let's go ahead and hop in the vehicle and see what it looks like in the inside. Oh, let's not lean. Alright, here we are in the driver's seat. Looks like we got our standard military gauges and dials. We have our push button gear select, which is very correct. Very bare bones, similar to a real MATV. I haven't seen a BFT, which I'm imagining that is. Let me see if I can get in that seat. I'm imagining this is supposed to be a Blue Force tracker. Haven't seen one set up like that. Usually it's hard mounted in this area. And this is one thing I don't like, is ammunition is really never stored in an MRAP like this. It is strapped down very securely because an MRAP, once again, is a mine resistant ambush protected vehicle. If an IED goes off, the vehicle might be protected, but it's still going to be moving around and jostling. And I've heard of people being hurt or even killed by objects inside of the vehicle when they're not secured. So everyone is very conscious about making sure everything's strapped down very secure. There's bungee cords everywhere, and it's craziness. Let's go ahead and go to the back here. Oh, so now we're in the crow system. Very cool. Got a nice 50 cal. And it's very similar. It's clipping a little bit into the model, but it's okay. Very similar to what the real system is like. I can't fault them, and I'm pretty sure it's a government secret. You're not supposed to design it exactly the way it is, so I think that's good enough the way it is. Alright, so here we are in the back seat of the MATV in Squad, and it's pretty bare bones like it really is in a MATV, although there's probably a lot more leg room than there really is, and I'm a short man, and I didn't have any leg room, so I know this virtual soldier should be struggling. Once again, this is not strapped down, which is a little pet peeve of mine, but it's okay, it's a video game. One thing I do notice, as you can see up there, there's a fire suppression or a halon system. There should be one back here as well. There's always one mounted on the back wall, generally. So as far as the interior goes, it gives you a pretty accurate feel of what the interior is. It gives you the cliff notes of the interior, really. Now that was the interior, and it looked pretty good for the most part. But what I'm curious of, they didn't really get the inflation system in there. So let's see if they got the V-shaped hull, which is another unique feature of MRAPs that helps protect it from IEDs. Okay, so it looks like the hull does have a V shape to it. It does come to a flat, a pretty hard flat, which I don't believe it does. I think it continues to be a V and then, goes back up. And it's a similar principle as, the famous T-34 armor, fighting the Russian armor fighting German tanks. It was slanted at such an angle that even though the German shells are a lot bigger, they can't penetrate, they just bounce. And that's the goal of the V-shaped hull, is to make sure the IED doesn't have a way to penetrate, it just deflects. So that is very interesting there. Let's see how this bad boy drives. Kinda sounds like an MRAP. Don't know where I'm taking it. Taking it somewhere where it says no entry, so I don't know. Now this is a video game and I'm using a keyboard. So. Ooh boy, it is an all-terrain vehicle. This should be no problem, I think. Well, I don't know what I'm crawling, to be honest. Oh man. The MATV shouldn't have any issue with that. Okay, so it's not exactly as all-terrain as it is in reality. Well, there we go. It's not too bad. It struggles a little bit. Okay. It's very tall, like it is in reality as well. Can't go under signs. She definitely struggles going up hills and things like that, which, I mean, it is a beefy vehicle. It does have a top speed of only 65 miles per hour. But when you're driving one, they don't seem that slow. They're fairly nimble. They're still pretty top-heavy vehicles, but they're pretty tight in the steering usually. This one seems a little bit more floaty, kind of closer to the bigger MRAPs like the Buffaloes and things like that. It got the general feel of an MRAP down. I wouldn't say it got it specifically right for the MATV. Here's some bumps. They handle those pretty well. But I would say not quite right for the MATV, but very good for an MRAP. If they were doing like a generalization of an MRAP, I think they nailed it. Alright, so now we're on a different map on Squad, and we're going to test to see how mine resistant the MATV is compared to the standard Humvee. And we got a nice little IED here, if you can call it nice. We'll go ahead and plant it, and we'll test this out. Let's go ahead and we'll bury this guy a little bit here. Alright, and there we go. It'll be a direct hit on the MATV. Let's back up here so we don't die from our own explosion. And let's see what happens. We don't want to shoot it. There we go. Take a crouch and let's make the call. pretty impressive explosion. The MAT-V is on fire. It does still operate. Okay. Okay, so it wasn't a complete destruction. It was, you know, it seems pretty accurate. It will kind of disable the vehicle, and the crew survived on to live another day. Alright, so now we have a standard up-armored Humvee, and let's see how it does compared to the MAT-V counterpart versus an IED. Go ahead and bury this one so it's an equal test. I don't think the burying makes any difference in terms of the explosion in this game, but we'll do it anyways. Right there. I think we should be good. There we are. Let's back up once again. Go ahead and pull out our handy dandy phone. And let's make the call. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Whoop, never mind. I take that back. Okay. So the MAT-V is more protected than a Humvee. That is very accurate. Okay. Oh, wow. I did not expect that. I almost killed myself in the game. There you go. The Humvee is destroyed by the same IED. Very interesting. Well, there you have it. Squad's version of the MAT-V. I would say it pretty accurately represents the MAT-V, but more so I think they got the whole general feel of the MRAP family down with this vehicle. It may look like a MAT-V, and maybe it should perform as the MAT-V does specifically and have its characteristics, but I think they represented the whole MRAP family here very well. It gives you a good idea of what an MRAP is like. And obviously you saw it is more mine resistant than the standard Humvee in this game. So therefore they did a pretty accurate job, I have to say.
Hope you guys found this video informative and interesting. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe. And join us every Tuesday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time for more videos. But until next time, stand at ease.